Here's the Schmeckenbecher clock that I get to touch, and I'm going to talk to you about what happens. First of all, the bird is not going back in, so I'm thinking that the copper wire that brings the bird back in is loose. And second of all, the lady at the end, the door closes and then she comes back out, and that's because the wire that goes into the Pac-Man's mouth comes out of the Pac-Man's mouth and comes back on top out of the indentation. And so that's an easy adjustment right there. You just loosen the screws and turn the cam until the wire goes into the V, and the guy here is not climbing the ladder, and I have never touched one of these clocks until now, and I'm told my friend that the guy is designed the same way as the Schmeckenbecher woodsman clock, to where there's a wire that catches these little fingers, and that what causes the guy to chop. So I'm imagining that wire catches the little fingers to bring him up and down. So we're going to work on this clock today. On the half hour, the farmer lifts his pitchfork, and then on the hour, he lifts his pitchfork again, it cuckoos, and then the lady comes out of the door as the music plays. Then, like I said, at the end, the door closes, but then she comes back out. And that's because that cam needs adjusted. So I'm preparing myself for when I pick up my Schmeckenbecher Farmer's Daughter's clock on Friday. And here you can see that the wire for the lady that comes out of the door, and there she is, she got this wire, and there's a groove right there that this wire is supposed to be in, but it's not. The wire's on top of the wheel, which causes her to go back outside when the music is done. So there are screws on this wheel that you loosen, you turn the wheel until that wire is dead center in that V, and then you tighten the screws. And then on the guy climbing the ladder, there's the ratchet wheel, but I gotta figure out how he works. I think that the chain might be on the wrong side of that wheel, and that's why he is not climbing the ladder. And I could be wrong on that, but we're gonna have to take the bellows out to investigate. Again, this is the very first time that I have touched Schmeckenbecher Farmer's Daughter's clock, and I hope I don't tear it up.
It might be the last time you want to have your hand.
Here's the lever that makes the boyfriend go up and down, but I think that the chain is on the wrong side of this tire, because this tire this plastic wheel here makes this lever here go up and down, but I think the chain is on the wrong side of the tire, so I'm going to put it on the back side of the tire and see what happens. With me putting the chain on the back side of the tire, even though I haven't tripped the music yet, when I pull on the chain, you can see that plastic wheel start to rotate, which again trips this lever here to make the boyfriend go up and down the ladder.
Just tell them.
Here's the lady for the farmer's daughter's clock, and as you can see, there's this notch in this wheel that this wire fits in when she's all done. And what was happening was the gear was in the wrong spot, so she came out, she closed, she went back in, and because this gear was in the wrong spot, she came back out again on top of this. And this particular gear has got this screw right here, and I'm going to go ahead and loosen it for you so you can see what I'm talking about. She came out, and when the music was all done, loosen this gear some more, she came out and the wire was sitting here, which caused her to come out. So all you had to do was, fortunately, there are screws in the top of this case to take the music box out, loosen that screw up, put the gear where it needs to be, and then tighten that screw up. And after you tighten that screw up, you want to test it. So here she's coming out of the clock. The music is playing. This wire's fixing to go back in that notch, which causes her to go back inside the clock. And she came out again, and that's because while on video, I turned this the wrong spot. So I have to loosen the screw, turn her around. I want to make the music stop. Turn this around until she goes back in, and then I want to tighten that screw. And then you want to test it again, because in the process of doing all this, you could have turned the wheel, or the music might have started playing. So I'm going to trip the music. She comes out of the clock. And in that case, I felt the wheel move. So this screw is slipping. So I'm going to loosen it again, turn her all the way around until, well, now the music is playing, so I have to, and the music shouldn't be playing because this wheel should be slipping. So now I have to loosen the screw some more. As you can see, it's already loose. And get this wheel to rotate if I can. And then tighten this screw back up. And then I'm going to try it again. And the wheel slipped again. This ratchet wheel might be shot. So let me investigate it and we'll get back. Actually, I'm gonna undo this screw and take this wheel off. There's typically a screw inside this groove here, but I'm not seeing one. So let me investigate. Here's why the gear was slipping. As you can see, this plastic housing, this world that we live in today, it's broken. And so the plastic housing tightens up on this arbor. Well, that's the world that we live in today. So what I'm going to try to do is put this collar with the screw 180 degrees from that plastic area and see if I can get it to tighten up. If not, my buddy is going to have to come up with a ratchet wheel with this Pac-Man B-type slot, which are on the Woodsman's Cuckoo clock, the clock with the little man that comes out, and they have brass wheels and proper material. This wheel, again, it's all plastic, and because I have videos out there on ratchet wheels, this is new to me. Again, this is the first time me touching one of these Farmer's Daughter's clocks. As you can see, that those white tabs in there, it's plastic, and that's what the ratchet wheel is. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but it's got the clicking noise going on. As I turn the wheel, that the white plastic goes inside and then comes back outside, and that's what makes the ratchet. But my buddy just happens to have the correct one, and so we're going to put this one on instead. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. As long as it fits on there, which I'm sure it will. At least it should.
Get ready to enjoy another six-pack of pure classic rock on Springfield's Pure Classic Rock. 104.7 The Cave.
Maybe. I can't do this over the camera. So now that we got a metal gear on, I'm going to test it out. She comes out. And she goes back in when the music stops. Metal is better than plastic. You can repair this. How are you going to repair this? Just throw away stuff. Metal better. Time to put her back in the clock. Okay, this is an update on the farmer's daughter clock. First of all, this counterweight right here is the bugger. As this wheel comes around, it hits this lever and the counterweight, the wire that comes off this brass weight, this counterweight, that goes into the clock and then goes into the boyfriend has to be straight all the way up till the very end, and then there's a little loop that curves down, and there's different sections of the boyfriend, and that was a pain too, trying to figure out which section it goes into. And I found the top half of the boyfriend versus the bottom half works well. And I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me see if I can get some light on the situation. But there are the wires in the top half of the boyfriend versus the bottom half. Also, the chain, the wheel that drives this wheel here has to, bottom line is the drive chain, the one that's got the weight on it, has to go in the back of that wheel in order for it to turn it correctly. See, this is ratcheting, and when you ratchet, it will pick up on this and it'll get in a bind. So going the other way, the curved parts of these plastic wheel is what hits the wire and makes the boyfriend climb the ladder. As you can see, the counterweight is coming up as I rotate this wheel. So, when we first got into the clock, the drive chain was on this side, the rear side of this wheel, which doesn't do anything. It makes this wheel go backwards. And so you have to put the drive chain on the rear side of this wheel to make it go this way. And as you can see, this is in like an X, and then it crosses again here, and it works. So anyway, there's some people that asked me to do a video on this clock, and this is the first video that I'm doing on this clock. And when I get my clock, I will probably do another video. Let me see if I can trip the music. As you can see, that drive wheel that I'm talking about pushes the wire down, that brass wire forces it back up. And that is what makes the boyfriend climb the ladder. And now I have to readjust the lady because she is popping the door open again. Ron! I picked these clocks, I hand them to my buddy, and I think he sabotages them, because when I had it here, it worked just fine. And then I gave it to him, and it no longer works.